Okay, so hello, Krisha. How are you today?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm good. So we're here today to talk a little bit about the whole, stress and the anxiety and the uncertainty due to this, global crisis.
Yeah.
Coronavirus,
Yeah.
and I know that's how much, like, I normally talk about, I'm all about mindset,
Yeah.
the thoughts and the emotions, and how our thoughts affect our emotions and then our actions and stuff. So
Yeah.
but I also want to learn more about how we can actually manage our stress and how we can cope this with this basically situation and the crisis from the point of view of the holistic, basically view, and see what you think about it, because you're a holistic nutritionist, right?
Well, I was years ago. I started my business as a coach, as a holistic
Okay.
nutritionist years ago.
Okay.
But my coaching has hi everyone, by the way. Thank you for having me. My coaching naturally changed and progressed as the years went. Just a short what happened was, you start as with holistic nutrition, it's all about the food and all that kind of stuff. And then it's like, no, it has absolutely nothing to do with kale and broccoli at all, and everything to do with the emotions and the mindset. So early on in my career, in my coaching career, I shifted gears and I dropped the nutrition piece and just focused on the mindset and focused on, the internal belief systems and mindfulness and our internal landscape, basically.
Okay.
And the majority of people that I work with are always, they've been leaders, CEOs, professionals like doctors and lawyers, and they're entrepreneurs, they run their own companies and all that. And they were struggling with some sort of burnout in some sort of way, whether it was actual adrenal issues or a burnout of like, I'm just exhausted living my life this way. And looking for, they always say to live my best life, right? Which sounds trite, but that's what they say. They want to live their best life and be the best version of themselves. And so the work that I've done over the years has been that, basically, like, okay, let's look at where you are right now and what's in the way. Let's clean that up, scrub it up, belief systems, the blind spots that we have, the daily habits, the mindset, the thought loops, all of that kind of stuff. Plus your lifestyle and how you take care of yourself, your self-care, self-love, all of that kind of stuff, and scrub that up and, allow these individuals to fully emerge as who they are and who they were put on this planet to be. So that's the evolution of my business.
Okay.
I do
That's very interesting.
view. Yeah, I do have a holistic view. I have a very holistic view on all of it. So, and that knowledge isn't gone.
Okay. Yeah. So let's get into that then.
Yeah.
So how do you feel about the whole coronavirus situation right now? What do you like?
So, because of all the work that I've done on myself and working with as many people as I have over the years, I might take a different view or a different approach than what a lot of people. And it's not to say that there isn't a severity and a seriousness and a terrifyingness to what's going on here. There absolutely is. There's a lot of uncertainty. There's a lot of people who don't know what's going on. There's a lot of people who are being really, truly affected by this negatively right now. And there's also a lot of people who are just uncertain, right? They're not really being affected negatively or positively. They're just uncertain. It's the unknown, right? It's like, I don't know what's going to happen. I'm an entrepreneur. I don't know if I'm going to, be able to continue making money in this time. I don't know when my kids are going to go back to school. I don't, there's a lot of uncertainty that may not be as survival based as some people. And so I'm addressing those people right now who have a semblance of security. They have some money in the bank, or they're not completely in dire straits right now, because that's a whole different mindset. That's a whole different set of issues, right? So for those who have like a baseline of okayness, they're still facing a lot of uncertainty, and there's a lot of fear that comes up in this. A lot of like, because we're people who love to have like our minds are constantly searching for patterns, right? We love to have things in order. We love to know what's coming next. We've had so much taken away from us in this, like our ability to travel, our ability to be able to socialize, like so many things right now are being shaken up, and it's causing people to feel alone and lonely. And that in itself can cause people to be depressed. And there's a lot going on right now. And there's 8 billion people dealing with it, right? It's not like just Canada or just the States.
No. It's very true. And I always, I was talking to a friend the other day, and I said, because growing up in Iran, basically, lived with uncertainty. There was always something going on, you know. There was always like, we experienced like 8 years of war with Iraq, and then so it was always uncertainty, and then with the government, and there was always something going on. And then we immigrated, and the immigration is a huge uncertainty. You know, basically you step into a big unknown and unfamiliar, basically, right? You don't know what's going to happen next. So this is another, I don't know, this is kind of like, I've experienced this before, but it's still kind of, as you said, I have that okayness, but it's kind of like, I don't know what's going to happen next, you know? So it's kind of like, oh, I'm not sure. How long am I going to stay home? What about my business? So that's very true. I think, a lot of people actually are experiencing that.
And it's yes, exactly. And I love that you just shared about your experience, because you know, I think when we can bring in that level of like perspective, because that's a perspective shift. And if we're talking about stress has a lot to do with perspective, right? It's how you think about things. It's what lens you're looking from, and what is your natural state, right? So if your natural state is to be in worry, if your natural state is to be in fear, which is all inner child stuff, right? If your natural state is that, then this is going to seem like way worse than it is, or your transition through it is going to be way tougher than it needs to be, right? So I look at this as an opportunity to go within, for those who can, right? Like it's a real opportunity now where we're you know, kind of forced to be on our own right now a little bit. So that's wonderful. I'm excited about that. And again, not to be flippant about the people who are really struggling. This is an opportunity for everybody to go within and to really take a look at our inner world. Also, this is the rise of the feminine. And this is what has been going on for the last like several years, right? Like the rise in feminine entrepreneurs, female entrepreneurs, the Me Too movement. Like there's been so much over the last couple of years that have allowed women to really step up into our power in a new way. Not in the way that we've been working, which has been in the patriarchal rush, hustle, exhaust ourselves, get adrenal fatigue kind of way. This is a real opportunity now for women leaders to step up and say, I no longer want to work in that way. It's exhausting to me. It's not allowing me to share my true gifts in the world and tap into my inner knowing and my intuition and surrender, which is a huge part of accepting and leaning back and saying, okay, we're in an unprecedented time right now, which you in your history would have experienced. And there would have been some sort of surrendering into that and saying, okay, like whatever, there's fighting it or there's surrendering it. And that's a big part of feminine leadership is allowing that space to be surrendered into it so that we can get the right next steps to come from within rather than, wow, what do I do? In that panic space when we are facing such uncertainty. So I think there's huge opportunity here, huge, especially for leaders.
So let's talk a little bit about how like the whole stress thingy is gonna is affecting our body. Like how does that work?
So stress affects our body in many, many ways. So what's physiologically and biologically happening is we have a release of hormones like cortisol and adrenaline. And those are healthy to get us to go when we need it, right? So it is a fight or flight system that has that, like we were given by whoever, our creator, in order to be able to use it effectively. Like if there's a tiger coming at us, right? Or we need to like jump out of the way of a car coming or something. The challenge,
like a real danger.
A real danger, right?
Yeah.
Think about it. When you've been really, truly, absolutely scared, holy moly, that is a system you want, because it gets you to move or like fight, flight, or what? Flight,
yeah.
right? And I haven't even started drinking yet.
Yeah.
Or we freeze, right? And I think this is the thing right now. A lot of people are freezing because we don't have the tools, the inner ability to be able to like relax and surrender and go within and be able to manage this in a more effective way. And so when we got all of this external stress that we've had, so pre-corona, with social media, news, expectations, the hustle, the drive, the need for us to be super high accomplished, to be better than our competition, to make all of this money and spend it on all these stupid things, right? And not judging, but that's what it is. And it's the achievement paradigm. Achieve. That's what we've been living in. And it boggles my mind how many of my friends, I'm in my mid 40s, right? And so I have a lot of friends who have like teenage daughters, and these young girls and young boys are so incredibly full of anxiety. It's unreal. And I think it has a lot to do with this paradigm that we've created, and what that's doing is creating a lot of stress response in our body that we are not equipped to handle, because it's not meant for that. It's meant for once in a while. And when we have that much cortisol and adrenaline, and then followed by the cortisol going through our body all the time, it weakens us big time. It weakens our immune system, which is so important right now. It's so important right now, for obvious reasons. And it pokes holes in our brain. Like we get brain fog. We have memory problems. We can't, and we can't have that as leaders, right? We want to be sharp. We want to be smart. We want to keep our memory for years to come. It makes us fat around our belly, which then makes us feel like awful, right? We don't physically feel good. So we lose our confidence in that kind of way. And our heart, like there are more people, I think the statistic that I heard is like there's 54,000 people. Don't quote me on this. Okay. Look it up for sure. I heard it from another source. But I think it's something around 50,000 people a day that are dying from heart conditions.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, like a day. And that to me says we are in a society that is ruled by stress, ruled by not following our bliss, ruled by shoulds, ruled by all these things that we are chasing that are outside of ourselves. And not.
So that's why, So that's why you mentioned that we have to actually go inward.
Yeah.
To see what's really happening, to have that pause and stop and kind of reflect and see, okay, what is this stress doing with my life anyways, and now on top of that, we have this situation right now. Exactly.
So now all of those people who operated their life in that way, who maybe never meditated or never really prioritized self-care at all, or who do it sporadically, they're going to struggle because their bodies can't handle it, right? Their bodies are already weakened from the stress. And again, this is not judgment. This is totally fixable.
Oh, I'm one of those people, totally actually. Fixable. I like when it comes to meditation and yoga, all those, I do self-care in my own way, but yeah, it's like right now, I think that, I really need to kind of do more of that,
Wonderful.
Not enough right now. Yeah.
Okay, wonderful. So then my tip at the end will be helpful for that. But yeah, so anybody who's in this situation right now, we've got this big thing.
Yeah.
And if you don't have these daily practices, if you don't have these things on board, then you're going to struggle even more. Like it's even more stress, even more weight, right? And it is. Yeah.
So talking, you were talking about meditation, and so what, like, because it seems that you do it on a regular basis yourself.
I meditate almost all day, every day. And I know that sounds ridiculous, but I do.
Oh, okay. So why don't you just talk a little bit about maybe your own ritual or
Sure.
or something that would help
Yeah.
people in terms of, self-care that,
Yeah.
they can cope with this right now.
Of course. Yeah. So we all have to start where we're at. Okay. So I've been in this space and doing this work for a really long time. So when I say that I meditate all day long, I'll share with you my practices. So basically I'll get up in the morning and I will read a little bit from like Paul Selig's work. So he has, I think there's 8 books or something like that. These are really fantastic books on connecting with source, with your own inner knowing, and really like doing a deep dive within and operating from a higher vibration. So I'll read something like that. Usually mornings is when I feel the most anxious. It's when my vibration is at its lowest. And, there's worry and there's fear and all that kind of stuff. So I recognize that and I'll do something like that. I'll go on my chi machine, which I don't think you can see. Do you see that gray thing? It's kind of poking there. Anyway.
Yeah, I think I can see something.
Yeah, it's like it's a machine that it vibrates your body and it gets your lymphatic system going, and it really like puts you in kind of a bliss state. I'll go for a walk. Every morning I'll go for a walk and I'll listen to my Paul Selig or something like that. I just do something in order to shift my mindset, because if I just sit here and ruminate and think and go on my phone, I'm done.
Yeah.
I'm done.
Yeah.
So I do not touch my phone except to open up my Audible app. I don't go on anything, not Facebook, not email, nothing, until at least I've felt my vibration lift. And you know that within yourself, right? You know when you're feeling low, and you know when you're feeling better, right? Yeah. And if you're super, super, super low, don't expect to go super, super, super high in 5 minutes. Yeah. Like, you know, it's increments, right? Yeah. And then throughout the day, I will, because I meditate so much, like I'm generally in a state of meditation for the most part, which means that I'm in a state of presence. I'm in a state of present awareness. I'm usually like pretty good at getting a very good sense of what's going on around me, right? I can hear things, like smell, like I use my senses, and I'm not all up in my head all the time. I do. I'm not a robot. I'm not perfect. I have many, many moments in the day where I lose it. But what I have is that anchor point to bring me back, right? And then I don't watch the news. If I want to inform myself about coronavirus and what's going on, I will go to a credible source like a government website. I don't listen to what anybody says. I don't pay attention to anything on Facebook. I don't watch the news. I don't do any of that kind of stuff, because all that does is create more fear and rumor and misinformation, right? Exactly. I will then, in my evenings, I don't even watch TV anymore. It sounds like I might have a boring life, but I actually don't. It's actually really awesome.
It's not. It's actually more interesting, because you're doing all these like readings and podcasts and, audios and everything, meditation, walking. It's, it's all like,
very rich,
being active and, as you like, just shifting that mindset, which is interesting. Yeah.
And this is the thing, like this is the thing that people don't realize, is that a lot of people, and I've worked with many hundreds, and busy people, and a lot of people think that they can just do it once and that's it. A lot of people think you have to do 50 things. It's not that. It's creating a consistency in one thing, and then you build and you build and you build.
Okay.
But it is, so that's my routine, right? That's my routine, because that's what I've developed over the last several years. I haven't even finished telling you about my routine. So then for people who are just starting out and who are not there, right? Like my clients, when they come to me, it's what I like to call like a relentless ritual, and it is something that is sacred, and it is a non-negotiable, because we're talking about you here, your life, you, and you are such a precious gift in this world. And if you don't treat yourself as such, then nobody else is going to treat you that way. And you're going to struggle, right? So by turning the attention to you for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, an hour, 3 hours, whatever time you want to gift yourself with, will be the best gift. And then what will happen is you'll build and you build and you build. So relentless rituals is what I like to call it. And I like to say, play roulette with it, right? So pick something, like pick going out for a walk or going into nature, pick meditation, pick like yoga or Tai Chi or dance, you know, like I'm all about the dance, right?
Oh yeah, I know. I know that.
Yeah, right? Which helps like get us into our feminine, which helps get us into our body, which helps move the emotions that we're feeling through and out, right? Like there's so many little rituals that we can do on a daily basis. The important thing is not that you're doing 700 of them like I do, is that you are doing one consistently every single day. So pick the one that you love the most or you hate the least, but make it something that you love, right? And then eventually you'll be like, okay, I got this one down. I'm ready to try something else now, right? And if you're already doing something, like you said, that you're a little inconsistent with some of these practices, right? So choose one. And then make it consistent, whichever one you feel would be like, just go within for a minute and just be like, what is the one thing that I would, of all the practices that I'm doing, that I enjoy the most, or that I get the most benefit out of, that I feel the most benefit after? And it's going to come to you. Meditation. Okay. Don't question it. Meditation. That's your answer. Then if you're already doing, how long are you meditating for already?
Oh gosh, 10 minutes, 10, 15 minutes max.
That's awesome. So what kind of meditation are you doing? Are you doing silent, guided?
Guided.
Okay.
No silent. If I'm silent, then all the thoughts are in my head. So I need guided meditation. Yeah.
Can I just address that for a quick second? Yeah. That never goes away. So that's a big myth. A lot of people think that you have to have silence or whatnot. It never goes away. If it goes away, you're dead. So you hope
definitely. It's not going away. I just know that if I'm doing it by myself, as if, what am I doing? Like I need someone's guidance, you know, I don't know what I'm doing, but
fair enough.
Yeah.
So to that, all I want to say is that is like, when you're ready to get more advanced in your meditation, sitting through that is what's going to get you to the other side of that. So we need to sit in the discomfort of hearing all of our thoughts, and they're loud and they're shouty and they're argumentative and they're negative and they're this and they're that, and we're daydreaming and we're going off, and it just feels like a waste of time sometimes. But the more we can sit in that and just let it be there, and like bring it back to breathing, bring it back to a mantra, bring it back to, I'm meditating right now. Excuse me, people, take a break. Then what happens is eventually it quiets. And then what happens on the other side of that is now you're starting to get more and more and more quicker internal responses, right? So I would just invite you and anybody who's watching who doesn't sit in silence to realize that that's all normal, and you're never going to get over that until you allow yourself to just sit in the discomfort of that. But a guided meditation is amazing, and I do lots of guided meditation. Like, I don't do them, I listen to guided meditations myself for the same reason, because sometimes it just won't shut up, and I just want to, like, I just need to not listen to everything that's going on in my head right now. And a guided meditation is perfect for that. So if you're doing 10 to 15 minutes, then I would say, like, get into the habit of doing that then on a daily, if that's the exercise you want to choose. Get into the habit of doing that, and then challenge yourself to go up to 20 minutes, 30 minutes, right? Like, for anybody watching, if you haven't done anything at all in terms of meditation, for example, don't go to an hour, because you're just going to lose your mind. So start where you are. Start with, if you're at 0, start with 5 minutes. I remember the first time I meditated, it was 1 minute. And I was like, I had the timer on. I'm like, oh my God, it's only been 10 seconds.
Oh, yeah. That was me.
I was dying. So that's what I would say. Start small. All or nothing mindset isn't helpful here. It's just going to throw you off. Okay. I know people, like, they want to do it all, especially like the high performing, like type A person, right? It's like, I want to do it all. I want to be perfect at this. No, that's not helpful right now.
Okay.
Rein it back.
So my next question is, because you mentioned that whatever that helps you to basically shift that mindset and practice mindfulness.
Yeah.
Right. So those two things. So practicing mindful, again, for a lot of people, maybe meditation is not, is a no-no, right?
Yeah. Sure.
So what do you suggest? Because I know, like, when I was in Nepal for yoga and meditation retreat and stuff with my clients a few years ago, and they were doing karma meditation and yoga, which was amazing. So we would just get busy doing something like gardening.
Yeah.
And we just, like, we would practice mindfulness with whatever we were doing. So it wasn't just sitting somewhere for 5 minutes or 10 minutes for an hour. So it was just basically bringing our focus on the present moment. So what would you say for that? Any other suggestions or anything?
Yeah. Well, I mentioned this before when I said that I spend most of my day in that, right?
Yeah.
And so that's present awareness. So absolutely. Somebody was telling me a couple of weeks ago that she's part of a knitting community that that was it knitting or something, cross stitching or something, that was also being used as a mindfulness practice. So it wasn't just like knitting or cross stitching. Here's my thing. It was
gossiping.
yeah, right. No, not at all. It was anything that's repetitive, anything, that's totally fine. To do that, to have some sort of activity like that. Walking meditations are fantastic, right? Like, so when you're out for a walk, for example, that's where you bring it to presence. And it's like, what do you see? What do you hear? What are you smelling? What is, and if you're not used to doing this because you're used to being in your phone, or you're used to there might be a little bit of sensory overload at the beginning, which is amazing, right? And just like breathe and know, and just be like, wow. And really like take in, like, I'm right here on Lake Ontario. I have an amazing view out my condo window here. And I'm just like, look at the sparkles, not today because it's gray, but when the sun is shining, right? It's like, look at the sparkles on the water, right? Look at the way things are shining. Look at the rays of the sun.
Basically using all your senses.
Use all your senses in that moment, in that presence, to be in that moment. And you can do that with gardening. You can do that with knitting. You can do that with being with your pet, right? Writing and journaling for people. Some people is really.
Oh, I do that a lot, actually. Yeah.
Yeah. There's so many. There's no rules. There's no rules. It's follow what makes you feel good, and you will know what makes you feel good, because it'll be that thing that when you're done, you're like, you come out of it and you're like, wow, I don't feel scared anymore. Like, you might not have that conscious thought, but you just don't feel scared anymore. You feel connected. You feel, right? Like a little smile, a little calmer, a little more present, a little more grateful, or a lot more grateful, right? Joyful and happy. And that is our natural state as humans. And the important piece to take away here is, when you get to that place, this place, to keep it with you, and not like, okay, now I'm done my meditation, now I'll go, right? Now I'm gonna, and now, because now you're like, especially right now, don't go on news or anything like that once you've done that, because you have automatically taken yourself from that level of consciousness, from a high level of vibration into a low level of vibration. You just undone all your work, right? And what we want to do is condition our mind and condition our body for this state. Because when we're in this state, now what can happen is ideas can come to us. This is the feminine. This is receiving. This is where ideas can come to us. This is where our next steps can come to us. This is where our solutions about the problems that we're facing right now can come to us. This is where our purpose can come to us. This is where how we are here to serve can come to us. And if we allow that, then more things will come. And any problem that we're facing will start to work itself out. I can't even tell you what all the things that have worked themselves out for me over the last like 18 months because of being in this space. And you know, it's a real important place for us all to be in, especially as leaders, especially leaders who have teams and people who we're like responsible for, you know, families who we're responsible for, all of that kind of stuff. We really, really need to be in the space of calm, centeredness, presence, awareness, so that when we go back out and face the public and face whatever and work, we're doing it from that place, as opposed to getting here and then going, and then being like, oh my God, what am I going to do? Fear, scattered, disjointed, disconnected, you know, because that just breeds more of that as we go on. And then we end up making like crazy decisions in the end that we're just like, what? How did my life end up like this? Probably because I've done this, just made decisions from fear rather than making decisions from presence.
That's true. Thank you so much.
No, you're welcome.
So, and then tell us, because I know that you work with a lot of people, a lot of leaders actually, where can people find you? And
so on my website, christianyoung.com. I spend a lot of time on Facebook, to be honest. I don't know if that's still
you're
love,
quite active on Facebook. Are you on Instagram too?
I am. I have all the channels, but I'm just not very active on those other ones.
Okay.
And yeah, so I'm quite active on my personal Facebook page. So friend request me or follow or whatever. And I'm trying to get better at putting my Facebook content, my longer posts, as a blog post on my website. I also have a guide, Calm in Your Chaos, which talks about all of this kind of stuff and gives more tips and more tools and strategies.
Is that on your website?
Yeah, it's on my website. And what that will do also is put you on my mailing list. And I'm emailing my list pretty much every day right now with inspiring stuff and blogs and sharing. I just shared a movie. I'm sharing it tonight on tonight's email called Finding Joe. Which I'll plug because it's not mine, it's somebody else's, and it's an amazing movie, and it's about Joseph Campbell and storytelling and the hero's journey and all that kind of stuff. It's really, really inspiring, really great. So a friend of mine, Pat Solomon, he's in LA, and he produced and recorded the whole thing. So it's for free right now on YouTube. So
nice.
Definitely worth.
I think someone else actually recommended that too.
Gio from
Gio,
yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, that's good actually.
Yeah, it's a great movie.
Okay. Yeah, I'll make sure to watch that too. I was actually asking Matt, I'm like, have you watched this? He was like, no. I'm like, okay, so let's watch it together. Yeah. Okay. So really thank you so much. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
And thank you for all the, good nuggets and everything. And be safe.
Yes.
Be safe. And then we'll connect later.
Absolutely. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much. Thank you, everybody.